internet marketing practice and see what people are saying. And so I actually Googled this event to see what people were saying about this event. And my favourite.
We've segmented the research into a couple of different categories. I'm just going to try and focus on two areas.
I'm in a New York state of mind.
You know, Twitter is one of, I think Twitter has had, is the technology or the media technology that's come along that probably has had the single greatest impact in the shortest space of time since commercial television, or commercials on television.
For you, or
for the movie industry.
Right.
For the movie industry. And we saw that this summer. I mean, I think movies were made and were, everybody understands the importance of putting broadband out, just the way that it was really important that we built an interstate highway system in the 50s. But just the way we did it in the 50s, we need to have speed limits and make sure that the trucks aren't too heavy when they go on the roads, and make sure there's a police force and everything else. There needs to be rules of the road. And I think people are gradually recognizing that in the absence of that, you're just going to see an entire industry, you know, be damaged by it, frankly. The universities have been very helpful in this regard. We've got a lot of universities to step up and say to the student population, the same sort of three strikes rules. The graduate window right now sits 6 months after the DVD window, for the most part. The truth of the matter is, we sell 70 to 80% of what we're going to sell on a DVD in the first 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So why they have to sit 6 months out is a puzzle.
Right.
So maybe there's a way to say, okay, fine, you move in a little bit, and you give up on, you know, there's a bunch of bargaining.
What other pressures are there on the current setup with release windows? I mean, some people have gone as far as suggesting that a few movies have done this, the DVD coming out at the same time as the cinematic release, or even video on demand at the same time. Obviously, the cinemas aren't going to be keen on that, but what other forces are there trying to change the current system, and what might change?
You know, in terms of theatrical release, I know we at Sony believe that theatrical release is critical to the well-being of the movie industry. It brands the picture, it establishes an audience for a picture, it establishes an identity, and all the windows that come after it are based upon however successful that initial window is. I think we're really divided in terms of this desire to sit on top of the theatrical window. If, for example, you're a family product, which Disney is, then 70 to 80% of your DVDs are being bought by people who have already seen the movie. You're a kid, you've seen a great Pixar movie, you want to own it. So your tendency would be to want to have, as Bob Iger has sometimes expressed, the window moved up. But on the other hand, if you're District 9 or your Julia or your Ugly Truth, which are the movies we had this summer, or Angels and Demons, 70 to 80% of the people who buy the DVD have not seen the movie. So you're less desirous of having that movie available right there at the cinema the moment people walk out and say to themselves, oh, I want to buy it, because those aren't the likely purchasers of a DVD. So, you know, we differ slightly on where all of this.
So we just need more flexibility, perhaps, in the less rigid system.
I think that's exactly right. We need a less rigid system. We also potentially need a new window. Right. You know, and other people, Peter Chernin spoke about it a long time ago. We need a window potentially that sits there. That's a 48-hour window that sits between the theatrical and the DVD, which is directly to your television, which is a sort of a high price. And I think when you really understand what made DVD as big a business as it became, was you could buy DVDs in any one of 30,000 locations in the United States, whether it was Target, Walmart, Best Buy, your local 7-Eleven, and you could be very confident that you could play it in any one of a number of different devices, and it didn't matter who the manufacturer of those devices were. In order for us to make the digital business as big as the physical business, we have to provide exactly that same platform for the consumer. So you have to have a locker, which you could have multiple storefronts to, and that locker basically stores your movies and allows you to play it back on a Sony machine, on a Dell computer, on a Panasonic, on a Sharp, it doesn't matter what it is, because I think ultimately, and listen, I lived at AOL and I saw what Walmart did in the long term to AOL. You know, it's fine when people are on training wheels and getting on the internet. They're happy to sit inside of the walled garden. The minute they understand, oh wow, there's a big world out there. Yeah. That's when Yahoo and Google and everything else started beating AOL. I think the same is true of these walled gardens that these retailers have created. I think people will want to take their movies, and I pay for it. I want to move it to any device I want.
We get this 3D animation. And this is what is augmented reality, as having digital content, whatever, if it's a 3D animation, a movie, text, sound, whatsoever, in the real world, in real time. It's like I can really move this around, zoom in, zoom out. That's how it was done. So people, you may be asking us, you take a box off the shelf, you hold it in front of the kiosk as was just shown in the image, and you have the content displayed in 3D. And this can be done with all the boxes that are surrounded by them. With augmented reality, you take a box off the shelf, you hold it in front of the kiosk as was just shown in the image, and you have the content displayed in 3D. And this can be done with all the boxes that are surrounded
confirmation email to join the conference. But we see on the right, we've got a mask of his expression, which is being automatically calculated from his recorded video. This mask, or set of points, looks a little bit like Terminator, but it generates in our system an emotional probabilities that we can see at the bottom, the history of his emotional states. What we can see is we can extract out, obviously, his peak expression. So here he's
now at the lips and at the eyes, slowly. Can you see the change? Okay. So this is just a facial reaction. We have that, and from that we can infer about probabilities and about emotional states. And yes, some people will express more, some people will express less. That's the ability of the software. So here you can have a set of people, maybe they're having some doubt while they're answering their survey, and here you have some other people that maybe they have a level of satisfaction.
Rule our lives on the worst case. If we rule on everything bad that can happen, we will never do anything. We will never innovate. We will never build. Are there bad people in life? Yes. The internet is life. There are bad people on the internet.